Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live stream with me, Steve Mills. It's great to be here sharing with you some more tried, tested, and proven ideas to grow your business, to make more money, to increase leads, and to increase sales. Oh, that was a big introduction, wasn't it? I hope you appreciated the effort and planning that went into that. But seriously, welcome. It's thanks for you being here. I do appreciate it, and I will endeavor to make sure that your time with me, which is about 20 minutes, something like that, will be well worth your while. I'm here not to try and sell you anything. I've got nothing really to sell you today. What I would like to sell you on, as it were, is the idea of booking a meeting with me. And let's just explore to see if there's anything that I can do that would be of value to you. And that's really what I've spent over 30 years doing now, helping businesses to become more effective, more easily, more often, and to make more money. Today is entitled how to, sorry, it's not a how to, it's why small business marketing doesn't work and what to do about it. So firstly, we need to think about why it's not working. And you know, obviously I don't know you, I don't know your business, but assuming you're here to learn about how to improve your results, then this is a real key. As I said, you know, I've spent 30 years now doing this. This being helping small businesses to become more effective. And one of the things I've found in that time is that businesses often behave like what I call marketing butterflies, flittering from one marketing idea to another. They try LinkedIn and they don't seem to get anywhere with that. So they think, right, Facebook's where we're going to go. We're going to set up some Facebook advertising. They try that for a month or two, don't really get anywhere with that. So they think, I know, let's do some Google advertising, or let's do email marketing, or let's do this, or let's do that. And eventually they go, do you know what? We're just winning all our business from word of mouth. So we're going to stop all this marketing nonsense and stop wasting time and money. And, you know, there is some truth in that, isn't there? You know, that a lot of small businesses do waste time and money in marketing. I don't know what percentage of marketing succeeds, but I'm going to suggest to you it's about the 80-20 rule. You know, 80% of it doesn't work and only 20% of it does. But the truth of the matter, and I'm not just saying this because, oh yeah, you're a marketing guy, Steve. I really do believe that all marketing works. I would add to that not all my marketing has always worked. You know, I've done lots of marketing that hasn't worked. And the importance here, I think, is to test and try different things to see what we can get that works in order to then roll it out and do more. So this is my number one piece of advice to people. If you've got some form of marketing that you're doing right now, and let's just assume that it's not something that's costing you an absolute, you know, an arm and a leg, as it were, and you really do believe it could work, the first thing I'd recommend you do is to start measuring your results. Because without that, how do you, if I said, right, okay, I've got a website here and it's not getting me any business. So why is that? Well, there could be many, many reasons. But when I change one of those things, one of those reasons, I want to know if my website gets perhaps more traffic and or it converts more of that traffic into business. So without understanding, you know, the marketing numbers, as it were, we don't really know what to do. That's the truth. That's one of the biggest problems. And I can tell you, out of the over 10,000 businesses that I've helped, I could count on probably on my fingers how many of them had got marketing numbers in place in their business before I started working with them. You know, over 10,000 of them, and I reckon there's less than 10. That's, whatever that is, one in 1,000, isn't it? Without being an accountant, I worked that one out. That's pretty impressive. So if that's the case, then we need to start with that. We need to start measuring our sales and marketing results. It's just the same if you're talking about phone calls. If you've got a telesales or telemarketing person, or you're on the phone yourself calling clients and prospects, what's your conversion rate? If you make 100 calls in a day, how many meetings is that going to achieve? Now, I appreciate some days it'll be higher than others. But on average, over the last month, what are your numbers like? That's really key. Then the second question is, how can we improve those numbers? That's a really important factor. I said to you a few minutes ago that all marketing works, but it doesn't work all the time. Okay, so if we're only getting 20% of our marketing to actually work at all, then there are, again, two things that we need to do. One, we need to improve the results that we're getting. So instead of getting 20%, we get 30% of it working, 40% of it working. And perhaps we have to get rid of a little bit of the marketing that we right now don't think we can improve, or we believe we need to focus more of our time, money and effort on something else. So it might be a matter of moving something out the way, at least for the short term. Oh dear, excuse me. But then what we want to do is we want to improve the results that we're getting, and then perhaps introduce new things into the marketing mix in order to develop additional income streams. Let me give you a perfect example of that. If we took referral marketing as a concept, what do I mean? I mean word of mouth. People, you do a good job, people recommend you, which is great. How would you improve that? What could you do to get more people to recommend you? Well, you could do a better job, which would be good. You could improve your customer service, which would be good. You could provide better value for money, which would be good. But let's look at the marketing side of it as well. You could ask for referrals. A lot of people, if you took 100 people, I'm going to submit that right now, if you have 100 clients, 10 of them recommend you. One of them wouldn't, because nobody's perfect. That leaves 89% of people would recommend you. They just haven't done. Why haven't they done? Because they don't wake up every morning thinking about how they can recommend Steve or you. So what we've got to do is to stimulate that. We've got to get them thinking. We've got to perhaps pick up the phone and call them and ask them. Now, if we ask them in one way, we'll get a result. If we ask them in a different way, we'll get a different result. Let me give you an example. If you were a client of mine and I've been working with you for, let's say, 6 months, and you'd grown your business significantly, which you would have, by the way, and I said to you, I'll call you Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer. I'll use both. So, Mr. Customer, can I ask you if you know anybody who'd be interested in my service? What's the standard answer to that? It's the same answer to when you walk into a shop and somebody says, "Can I help you?" You say, "No, thanks, just looking." So the standard answer to, I was wondering whether you knew anybody who'd be interested in my service is, do you know what? Not at the moment, Steve, but if I do, I'll certainly let you know. Okay, so let's look at a different way of doing it. So if I said, "Mrs. Customer, I've been working with you now 6 months, and in those 6 months, you've grown your business by, I believe, round about 60%. Is that correct?" "Yes, it is," she says. I say, "Fantastic. So out of all the people that you know, the people that you've networked with, business contacts, suppliers, perhaps your customers, and anybody else that you know, out of all those people, who'd be the top 4 people that you think that I'd be able to help in the same way that I've helped you? Did you hear that? Who can I help in the same way that I've helped you? Not who else can I sell something to? Now, my question to you is this: which one of those 2 do you think would work the best? Well, I can tell you based on my experience that the second one works about, I'm going to say 300% better than the first one. And that's probably been underestimating things a little bit. But my point being that we need to test different things to produce different or better results. Let me give you an example from the world of websites. In the world of websites, a lot of businesses and a lot of websites have a page called Our Services. They've probably got another page called About Us. Now, I don't know about you, but I think those headlines, which are incredibly important, are about as boring as could be. Rest assured, nobody gives a rat's ass about you, nor me. All they care about is what I can do for them. That's all you care about. That's why you're here, not to listen to me. You're here to learn stuff that hopefully will help you to grow your business. That's what's motivated you to be here. I know that based on 30 years of experience. So if that's the case, then, my question is, what are you going to do to improve in, that website? Instead of having About Us and Our Services, you might have even like marketing services or accountancy services or landscape gardening services. At least I know what it is and what it is you do, which is better than Our Services. And by the way, that's much more likely to get picked up by Google then. And then we've got this other page called About Us. Why don't you change that to How We Help or How We Can Help You? All right, not the best headlines in the world, I'm sure, but definitely better than About Us, because as I've said, nobody cares about you. All they care about is what you can do for them and how you can help. So why not tell them? Okay. Now, let me give you an example of putting this into practice. A little while ago, I worked with a company, and they'd been running advertising into a local authority magazine, selling a piece of equipment, recycling equipment, and that equipment sold for £2.5 million. But what it did was it saved local authorities approximately 40% of their recycling costs, which can be way over, obviously dependent on the size of the local authority, but can be way over 10 million. And that equipment typically lasts about 10 years. So basically, you invest 2.5 million, and that saves you 10 years. Let's just call it 10 million pounds. So that's 100 million pounds worth of savings for a 2.5 million pound investment. But the headline that this company were using on their advert, and by the way, the advert had been running for 6 months and produced 0 leads, was the name of the company. I said, why are you using the name of the company? Are you like really famous in your industry? No, they said, it's all about brand awareness. I said, well, let's leave brand awareness to Coca-Cola, to Nike and other similar organizations, shall we? Shall we just concentrate on leads? They went, yeah, good idea. We want to get some more leads. So I said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we tell them what your product does? And that is saves, in the next 10 years, it's going to save you over 100 million, not 100,000, 100 million in recycling costs. They did that. That very month, the first month that advert ran, they got 5 leads and two sales of £2.5 million, £5 million worth of sales in the first month. I think I undercharged them. I charged them a daily rate, and I so wish I'd been on commission. But do you know what? You learn from your mistakes, don't you? You know, and but my point being that by changing just as simple as a few words on an advert, or a few words on an email, or a few words on a social media post, or a few words on a website, or a few words what you say when you stand up at a networking event, can make a massive difference to the results that you achieve. And that's how to take marketing that doesn't work and make it work. It's also how to take marketing that does work and make it better. It's like, you know, measure your results, work on improving it, one element at a time, by the way. This is an important point. What you don't want to do is change the headline, change the words, change the picture, add a video, change the testimonials, change the call to action, and then go, yay, it's all worked. Well, it might be just the headline that worked. It might be a better headline, but a worse call to action, so it doesn't create anything. So you need to test things one element at a time, and always measure, and then rinse and repeat. It's never perfect, is it? Nothing ever is in life, certainly not in marketing. So you're going to test the different elements of what you're doing. When I say elements, it is things like the headline, the subhead, the words, the pictures, the use of video, the call to action, testimonials, and so on and so forth. You're going to test all those things. Target market as well. That's a really important one. And then you're going to measure what you've got, and then you're going to work on improving it. And once you've got what I call proof of concept, you're just going to do more of it, and then you're going to do more of it, and then you're going to do more of it, and you're just going to crank it up. You know, I work with a company, another quick example here, work with a company that were doing Facebook advertising. They told me their budget was £1,000 a month. I told them, but it wasn't creating any business. So I told them to stop. Let's reduce it right down and see if we can get this thing really working effectively. So in the first month, they got a 3-to-1 return on investment. So I think they spent something like £200 and got a 3-to-1 return on investment. So made £600 profit on their initial investment. We then changed some things. We changed things on the landing page initially. So we're getting the clicks, but we weren't getting as much of a conversion as we'd like when people go to the page. We managed to get that up from 3-to-1 to 8-to-1. What a massive increase. That more than doubled, nearly tripled the amount of leads that they got just by changing some of the words and the layout of the the landing page. We then tried to get, we put some more money into it. We developed the money as we improve the return on investment. Without going on and on, we gradually improved the return on investment, getting it up to, I think at the highest it was 14 times. So every pound they spend, they got 14 pounds back. Now their budget eventually went to £38,000 a month. You times that by 14 and you'll know how much money that advert was producing. So they were spending 38 grand a month and getting 14 times that back. One day, the MD said to me, "What do you think I should do?" I said, "Well, if I was you, I'd double your budget. I think that's pretty much as good as it's going to get, don't you?" And he went, "Yeah, why don't we?" So he doubled his budget from 38 grand to £76,000. Now, in truth, it didn't quite double the number of inquiries, but it nearly did. You know, how powerful is that as a concept? So you've got to be looking for this. I call it the pot of gold. It's like the pot of gold that's sitting there waiting for you to claim it. Now that pot of gold is available from your website, from your LinkedIn, from your Facebook, from your email, from your Google ads, from your everything. It's just a matter of finding it, which is not easy, and it takes expertise. Now, as I've said, 30 years of getting results. Not all my businesses have made a fortune. Some of them have ignored my advice. Some of them have done it, but have just played at it really, have not really done it. They haven't made enough calls, they haven't invested enough time. But some of them have made, well, I've worked it out, over £100 million worth of business. So, I gave you the story there of my recycling client, made a fortune. One guy made over £5 million from LinkedIn alone within 6 months. I could go on and on and on. So my question to you is, do you want to meet? If you do, great. If you don't, that's fine. If you're happy with what you've got, then it's no real value in meeting really, because I'm about helping you to grow. I'm about helping you to do better than you've done before. If that's a real key for you and you want to do that, then what I suggest you do is to book a Zoom meeting with me. Take about half an hour. I'll try my best to help you come what may. And if at the end of it you want to know more and you're interested in my help, we can talk about that. So if you want to go forward, what I'd suggest you do is to go to my website. You can see my website written on my wall behind me, and you can also see it in the bottom corner of the screen. It's results-mastery. If you go there, you'll see a great big gold button. That's there on purpose. If you look at my homepage, there's a lesson that I practice what I preach. If I asked you what is the most wanted action of my website, it is to get people to book a meeting. Because when I get into a meeting with people, they realize that I can really help them. So if you would like to do that, go to my website, get yourself a meeting booked at a time that's convenient to you over Zoom, and I look forward to speaking soon. Thanks very much for listening.